RE/MAX Executive Realty. When I'm not selling real estate, I also teach real estate to pre-licensing students. And in that class, there is a lot of mathematics that you have to tackle. The series of videos that I'm going to put out here are to help my students and others with these mathematical concepts. And for the first concept, in the first video, we're going to talk about simple interest. Because loans are prevalent when you're buying a home. And there will be interest charged on that money that you borrow. So the whole discussion we're going to have now is in the context of the most common loan, which is the fixed rate, fully amortized loan. So simple interest will come up in a number of applications within real estate. And I have 3 of them shown here. So within simple interest, we have a very simple formula that says the interest charged per year is equal to the amount you borrow times the rate. And the 3 applications we're going to apply this to are interim interest, when you get a new loan to help you purchase a property. We're also going to talk about accrued interest. As a seller who is selling a home, I have a loan already, and I am going to sell the home in the middle of the month, and I owe some money to the bank. In addition, I have accrued interest. All the days that I've borrowed that money, I owe interest at the time I settle that loan. That is called accrued interest. And then finally, we're going to take monthly payments of principal and interest, and we're going to compute how much of that payment goes towards interest, and thus the remainder goes towards principal. So without further ado, we're going to go into a series of problems now, starting with interim interest. We're going to begin with the example of interim interest. Before we go into any calculations though, let's review what this means, interim interest. So we have a closing date proposed for September 20th. On September 20th, the bank is going to deliver a big bag of money for you to buy the property. Now, it's important to know when your first payment will be due. Whenever you get a loan, what the bank wants you to do is pay for a 30-year mortgage 360 equal payments of principal and interest. So therefore, they want you to start your mortgage on the first, following the first full month of occupancy. So if we look at our calendar here, we're closing on September 20th. October 1st, there will be no payment because we don't have a full month of occupancy. Our first month of occupancy will be the month of October. So November 1st is when we're going to pay our first payment of principal and interest. And that payment will be for all of October. So you get a principal and interest payment that settles up for October. But what about this? The bank wants to know where their interest is for the month of September. So by convention, what we do in real estate is at the day of closing, the buyer will pay the bank prepaid interest, also known as interim interest. So what we need to do is we need to use our simple interest formula to calculate how much interest is due for this period, the remaining days in September. So we are going to use the same interest rate formula. Interest is equal to principal times the interest rate. Now, that is an annual interest rate, and that gives you the annual interest. What we want to do is normalize that down to a daily interest. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide in the real estate class by the fictitious number of days in a real estate year, which is 360. Obviously, if you're doing this in practice out in the real world, you'll use actual days, but in real estate math, every month has 30 days, every year has 360. So we're going to use this formula to calculate the per diem interest rate, the per day interest rate, and then we're going to multiply it by the number of days that remain in the month, including September 20th. It's good to be the bank. The bank gives you the money on the 20th, they want interest on that day as well. So we need to count the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. That's 11 days. There's 11 days here, and we need to pay the interest for each of those. We're going to calculate the per diem rate using this formula. It's equal to how much we borrowed. In my example, we're borrowing $210,000. In my example, the interest rate is 6%. That would give me the interest for a year, but what I want is the interest rate per day, so I divide by the 360. If you get your handy-dandy calculator out and multiply this, you will see that this comes out to be $35 per day. Now we know that it's 11 days, so I'm going to multiply that by 11, and I get 350 plus 35, $385. So for the privilege of getting the money on the 20th to conduct this closing, knowing that the bank's not getting a full monthly payment till November 1st, which is only for this month, we need to give the bank at closing $385 as prepaid interest, interim interest, for this period of time.